One point with Trevor that was not mentioned. You talked about the communists, you talked about who these people are. I want you to spend just 3 minutes to tell us the research you did, the sources of your information that made you do this. The public libraries, just briefly.
But people will say to me, how do I know all this stuff? Look, you don't come to a foreign country and tell them that half their leaders are traitors without a little bit of evidence to back it up. And I've been doing this for years without anybody suing me or anybody contradicting me. This is how I learned how to do it. Every town has a few commies. So look, there's probably 100,000 commies in America. But because they control the unions, they control the Democratic Party, and they can get their policies enacted. You know, Obamacare was a communist policy. Open borders is a communist policy. Iran nuclear deal is a communist policy. 100,000 Americans, when the Democrats are in control, 100,000 communists run America. That's how it works. Just like 100 mobsters ran Las Vegas. You know, if you know how to do it, you can do it. So this is what I do. Every town has a few commies. You've got a few here. And they have meetings, and they work with Democratic Congress members, and they control the unions, and they get these people elected. Then they tell them what policies they got to push if they want to get elected again. But they are atheists, and they believe in history, and they believe in their role in history, and they're egotists. So they want somebody to remember them in 100 years' time and think what a wonderful revolutionary they are. So when at the end of their life, they gather all their papers up, their minutes of meetings, their correspondence with congressmen, their membership lists, their letters, and they put them in boxes and they donate them to a local library so that in 100 years somebody can come along and write their biography. Well, my wife and I cottoned on to that, and we spent thousands of hours in libraries going through boxes and photographing every page. Then we've got a website called KeyWiki. It's like Wikipedia. KeyWiki, it's a pun on Kiwi, New Zealander, if you're not sure. And we've got 150,000 files in there. You look up Cory Booker. You look up, Bonnie Watson Coleman. You look up all these people. And we listed all there. So we go on and photograph all these pages, then we cross-reference it. That's why I can say Obama is a communist. That's why I can say Joe Biden is a communist. That's how I can say Kamala Harris is a communist. She's a red diaper baby Maoist. That's why I can say Cory Booker, Crybaby Cory, is a hardcore Marxist. And that's why I can say the mayor of New York, what's his name?
What's her name?
No, the mayor of Newark, not New York, Newark.
Oh.
Yeah, Ras Baraka. That's why I can say he's a communist. So, Ras Baraka, mayor of Newark. Well, he might not still be the mayor, but he was for a long time. So that's where I get my evidence. I go through their own records, and I copy their pages, and I walk out of there, and I cross-reference everything. That's where I get my research from. And when you read the books, you will see these books are 400 pages each, and 50 pages are references and photographs. You don't come to a foreign country and call out traitors unless you can actually prove your case.
All right, so Trevor does not have to...
Seth, I have to do a reminder that Trevor asked me to remind him about before
Okay.
we move on. We picked him up from the airport last night, and this came up. Part of the platform that we have at Liberty Prosperity is about protecting and preserving the Constitution. But there's a major effort, and a lot of our leading Republicans and conservatives are actually part of leading this effort to apply for an Article 5 Constitutional Convention. We've studied that in this group extensively, and we decided to make it part of our platform because it's so serious. For people that aren't aware of this, they can go to that website, seemorefacts.com, or they can go to Liberty and Prosperity. There's information there to learn about it. But basically, about a year ago, the Democrats in New Jersey rescinded all applications for an Article 5 convention. Within weeks, the Republicans resubmitted applications. This is a very big risk, and we've studied it, and most people don't know about it. But Trevor, you asked me to remind you about
Yeah.
your thoughts on that.
Sure, and Mark Levin has been a big man promoting this, Convention of States. And look, I like Mark Levin. I think he's good on most things. This is what I'd say about the Convention of States. If we were in a position of strength, if we had conservative Republicans and constitutionalists running 70% of the positions in this country, I would say there's a couple of things about the Constitution I might tweak. Maybe. But we're not in that position. It's a big distraction, and it runs the total risk of opening our Constitution up to all sorts of Marxists and Soros acolytes and whatever. It's not the priority right now. The big problem with the Constitution is not the few flaws in it, is that nobody's enforcing it. Nobody's following it. And changing it isn't going to make more people follow it. So we got much more pressing things to do. The states that have closed open primaries need to close their primaries. We need to enforce state constitutions. We need to elect a whole bunch more Lauren Bobbitt's and Marjorie Taylor Greenes. We got a lot more important things to do with our time than open up the Constitution to meddling by our enemies. It is not, in my opinion, productive. And there may be some people here who vehemently disagree, and I'm all up for the argument, but I've got to say it as I believe it, and that's what I would say.
And now we have three things to do. First of all, we have a nice package there from Passion Vines that has a